Cam, obviously a tough stretch there, after that last media timeout, 12-0 run for them. I guess what was it, offensively that you guys were struggling with there in those last couple of minutes?
From my perspective, I just feel like we were really stagnant and we were real tentative on our heels. It looked like we didn't know what we were doing. I feel like that's pretty much the main piece on that.
Go ahead and get the microphone over to Paul here to Cam's right.
Cam, after the loss to Georgia Tech and coming back to this one, did you kind of what was practice like this week? Did you kind of sense this coming, or how was the mindset?
We just started by trying to get back to ourselves, trying to find our identities, and trying to get that into the game. They just made a few more plays than us today.
Go ahead and get it to Justin in the front row to Cam's left.
Cam, when you're talking about that stretch at the end of the game when things were stagnant and not knowing what you guys were doing, and then couple that with the Georgia Tech game, with the amount of veterans on this team, I guess, how concerning is that at the end of a game, there's so much confusion like that?
It's concerning just off the fact that we got guys out here who've been in situations like that. We should take the helm and kind of direct things that we're going. I take blame for that one. So, yeah, that's just on me. I got to hold things down to totally get back.
All right, we'll go back to Steph. We've got time for a couple more for Cam.
Cam, you were here last season when y'all went through that losing streak, going into SEC play. What did you kind of learn from that experience that maybe you guys can ride into this to kind of, get over these couple losses and get back in the win column now?
Just being grateful for every opportunity, not taking any game for granted, and just trying our best not to let them spiral and snowball. So just trying to go out there every day and compete.
We'll go to Ben in the second row here to Cam's right.
Their offense, especially early on, was running through Joseph, number 3. What made him so tough to stop for you guys defensively?
Shout out to him. He a hooper. In the early beginning, he just was kind of putting his head down, getting to the cup, just making tough finishes. So shout out to them.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with Steph.
You guys had Andrew back in there today. What did you think of the way kind of he played and got back into the mix?
Proud of Andrew. He's been going through some things, so just glad he's back out there being himself, just trying to be more confident. Just glad to see him back out there.
Coach, I asked Cam the same thing after the loss to Georgia Tech in practice this week. Is this something you sense coming, or how was it in practice?
I thought our practices were of the right tenor, if you will, after losing at Georgia Tech. We certainly were very disappointed that night, and we've been very disappointed since that loss, and kind of rallying the troops, if you will. We had plenty of time to stew on it and dissect it and learn and grow from it. And but I didn't expect this, certainly, and I don't think anyone in that room would have expected this. And we thought, Tuesday was tough. It's going to pale in comparison to this.
We'll go to Steph and then to Justin.
Cam said he felt like the offense got a bit stagnant there, when they went on that 12-0 stretch. I guess, what did you kind of see, from your team in the stretch, and why do you think the offense, got stagnant like that?
If I had the answer, I'd have fixed it during the game. Was it 59-50 or was it more than that? I thought it was 59-50 at some point, and they scored the last 10. I don't know exactly how it unfolded.
And then it was 15-2. 15-2 to end it.
But it was also 10-0, no?
Right.
We knew they would press us, and we expected that, and we handled it for the most part in the first half. They were falling back to more of their tandem 2-3 in the first half with maybe 1 or 2 possessions of their 1-3-1, and we did a decent job, not great, but in the second half, they mixed it up, especially the last 4 or 5 minutes. They got out of the rhythm of zone press back to the tandem 2-3, and they went more 13, 1-3-1, and we weren't as aggressive looking back as we probably should have been against the press and trying to score and maybe get them out of it. We were almost satisfied to break it, and it's a tough style to play against. I mean, kudos to Coach Johnson and their staff and players. They played really hard, and we expected them to play hard, and they never gave up, and they stuck around, and they found a way to win, on the road. But I thought in the end there, we were on our heels, The changing of the defenses after the press slowed us down. And regardless of that, when you only have, 16, 18 seconds after breaking it and then trying to get organized against the zone can be difficult if you're not seasoned and if you're not on top of what you're supposed to be doing. And then we just couldn't, when it became late, like 5, 6, 7 seconds left in the clock, and we didn't have a lot of offensive momentum, we had a hard time breaking them down. We had a hard time, getting two guys to guard one and getting a paint touch and, trying to make a play for someone else. And then when we did, we had multiple opportunities the last few possessions at the rim, and we just couldn't stick it in the goal for some reason. We just had multiple guys have multiple opportunities and a lot of those possessions to get a big drive finish or a stick-back finish, and we're able to do that.
Paul, go ahead.
Sean got his first start of his career, and also noticed Trey didn't play today. Any update on him?
Both just coaches' decisions, nothing more than that.
So, I mean, you have the full week off before you play again on Saturday, which I can see being a positive and a negative after a game like this. You've got more time to recover, but also more time to maybe stew on something like this. How do you view it, and what's going to be the message when you guys get back together tomorrow, whenever it is?
Since we've arrived, I think, being 1-7 in the SEC was probably the biggest adversity that we have faced thus far. But in my opinion, it's going to pale in comparison to what we're going to go through moving forward. This is going to stay with us all year long. There's no way around it. We're going to have to figure out, how we move forward as a group. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to challenge the fabric of our program. It's going to challenge some individuals in our program in terms of staying tight, staying together, believing in what we're doing individually and collectively. And it's going to be a test. It's going to be a real challenge. And you mentioned just this week having to wait all week before we play another game, and that's going to be hard too. It's going to be hard, but even then, I mean, this isn't going to go away, for a long, long time or ever this season, depending how it unfolds.
We'll go back to Steph and then Justin.
We saw Tolu today not wearing his boot. It's the first time that we've at least noticed that. Do you have any update on him, and is he progressing quicker or kind of as you expected to this point?
Yeah, he had some recent scans that the doctors were pleased with. The timetable hasn't necessarily been updated, but he's been able to at least get out of that boot and start moving around on the basketball court. He's not practicing or anything of that nature, but he's been able to start moving a little bit and just getting a feel.
Chris, when you say this next stretch of games is going to be a challenge and going to stick with you guys, what gives you confidence that this group is going to be able to handle that and put this past week behind them?
Yeah, I meant more. It's just big picture for our program. The test, the challenge, the handling adversity, losing a home game in this fashion after I think most people would felt like we're going to be angry. We're going to be playing our best and not happy, and we weren't. And again, trust me, at the end of the day, I get how this works. I'm responsible for our program and responsible for getting our guys ready to play, and I've got to do better, and I'm not happy about some of the things that decisions that I made, and I've got to go through that and learn and grow myself. But it's just going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of people in their ears individually, and they're going to question, why this, why that, and if they take the bait individually, it could cause some strife amongst us, and that's what our biggest obstacle is going to be, is to stick together and to continue to believe, and the buy-in stay the same, and somehow, some way, pick ourselves up off the ground and go forward.